Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another recap of Zatima Season 2, Episode 5. It's not what you think. So, it starts off with, Fatima Mama finding Zach with Deja. And after she lets him know that she's Fatima's mother, he ends up dropping Deja onto the ground. And now she was like, my back is really messed up. And so he quickly picks her up and then he starts dusting her off. Mind you, he dusting off her butt. She's like, ooh, that feels good. He just like, oh my God. It's like the worst timing ever. Like, what in the world? So he ends up helping her to her door and he goes inside with her. Next thing you know, Fatima pulls up. She sees her mom. Next thing you know, after Fatima got out the car, Zach comes out of Deja's house. And it's just like a deer in headlights moment. So they're like, you're not going to invite... Her mother was like, so you're not going to invite me in? Fatima was like, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. And then Zach was like, hey, Fatima, your mom's here. She was like, yeah, I know. So Fatima's mom was like, so you're not going to invite me in? She's like, oh, he was like, oh yeah, sure. Then she was like, oh, this package is heavy. That was the care package she supposedly sent to Fatima's other house. And Zach gets the package from her mom. And he lets both of them go through and lets them into the house. So they get in. He puts the package on the table. And her mom was basically saying, like, listen, yeah. So he would like to introduce her. He was like, yeah, I'm Zach. She was like, yeah, about that. We could talk about this more at dinner. And he was like, what? And Fatima's mom was like, so her name is Mona, right? Yeah, Mona was like, so you haven't told him? She was like, well, I just got here. Like, what do you expect? So Zach was like, sure, we can do dinner Saturday, only if Fatima invites me. And Fatima was like, yeah, that's fine, we good. So after that, they said a few words. Zach was about to walk out Mona, and she was like, no, Fatima could walk me out. So as they're walking out, he's like, these bougie bitches. So I was like, what in the world? It was like Zach could never catch a break. But whatever. Fatima walks her mom outside to her car, and they're talking. She was like, listen, I can tell that he's been in jail before. He's just like your biological dad, like... And Fatima had to play it off like, no, that's not what it is. And her mother was like, well, you would have been down that same path had your stepfather not come in and, show her the ropes or whatnot. And she was like, yeah, whatever. So guess they'll see them Saturday for dinner. So they get back. So Fatima lets her mom go and she gets back into the house. And by this time, Zach is already upstairs in the shower. So she comes in with her pocketbook, lets her stuff down. She goes upstairs. She goes in the bathroom, see him in the shower. She starts running the bath. And, they don't say nothing to each other. He get out, he look at her and walk past her. That was that. She ended up turning off the water. And they was like, okay. By this time, Zach is already in bed on his phone, laughing at something. And Fatima, so she's already dressed. Nice black dress, super cute. And, she comes out the bathroom and he's like, okay. And she goes and they don't say nothing to each other. She ends up getting in her car. She makes a phone call. And yeah, so she calls Angela. Angela starts talking to her and they talk about, the whole situation with, that Deja girl and stuff like that. And her mom wants to have dinner. And Angela was like, so what about that? She was like, yeah, we're going to have dinner and stuff like that. But, I want to go out. They wanted to go to Club Eden. But Fatima didn't want to go at first. She wanted to go somewhere else to, live it up or whatever. But then again, Angela convinced her to go to Club Eden. So that's where they're going. So they'll be meeting up there and seeing if they can get into some new men. So they get to the club. And they start having a good time, whatnot. Meanwhile, Zach is still at home. This chick would not leave him alone, so Deja keeps calling him, telling her, oh, he hears the music. So he ends up calling her so that she could turn it off, and she keeps saying, I can't reach it. I try to do it with my crutches, and I can't reach it because now I done hit it too far. So he's like, this girl, like, whatever. He ends up putting back on his clothes, and he goes over to the house. She was like, you can use your key to get in. He goes into the house. He ended up turning off the speaker. She was like, how you turn it off? He was like, it's on the side. So he figured out how to turn it off. And, he told her, like, listen, you got to stop this. Like, I can't keep doing this. Like, it's just too much. And she kept trying to throw herself at him. And he wasn't going for it. So eventually he left to go back home. And, he's, back in his bed or whatever. So after that, Fatima and Angela is drinking. They wanted more drinks because they feel like their night is not going as well as they wanted to. Just so happened this guy walked past. They thought he was the waiter. Come to find him, just some regular dude at the club named Sean. So I'm just trying to flirt with him and everything. And she introduced herself to him. And he asked, well, who's this? And Fatima was like, this is my friend Fatima. And yeah, he felt the vibe was off with Fatima anyways from jump. So Angela decided she's going to help Sean go get their drinks, even though he's not a waiter, but whatever. And, they have a good time. Oh, sorry. They have a good time. And, by that time, the night is over. It's like they're both tipsy drunk. They leaving out of the club. And Fatima's holding on to Angela because Angela is, like, done. Like, I'm surprised she was barely even able to walk. So they were like, listen, we're both too drunk to drive. So we're going to do a ride share. So Fatima, she gets on her phone to see where the car is at. They said about 6 minutes. Next thing you know, Sean comes out behind her like, you need a ride. And Angela, she is like, oh my God, so giddy about it, whatever. So she was like, yeah, if we could do it. But Tima's like, listen, we do not know you. Like, stop trying to, get with this man, but whatever. Eventually, she, took back and was like, listen, all right, I'll just go with you, all right. So they ended up pulling up at Angela's house. And Angela was like, you should have dropped her off first. Angela's trying to bone this guy for real. And Fatima was like, nah, that's not cool. You know what I understand? If Fatima, she eventually told him, like, listen, I'm sober and I got a gun. If she is sober, why she decided to drive home? Like, why she just didn't drive Angela's car home and get a ride share to her house and then pick up a car the next day? But whatever, she tells Sean that. And eventually they both get out the car. And Angela's still trying to hit on this man, whatever. She's like, call me. And she's like, no, she's not calling you. So Angela goes in the house, stumbling along, and she ended up falling on the floor and closes the door. And then Fatima was about to go in. Then she was like, nah, don't worry about it. Forget it. Can you drop me off real quick right around the corner? So Angela and Fatima live right around the corner from each other. So that means they can walk to each other's house. Like, y'all don't always have to drive. I just realized that. So Sean ends up driving. Oh, before that happens, Deja, she calls Zach again, talk about her water about to run over. He is tired of her. He is so fed up with her. And she eventually gets him to come back over. He goes over to the bathroom with his eyes closed, saying the water's over. And he turns off the water, realizes there's no water on the floor, whatever. Then she's talking about she needs help getting out the tub. He eventually throws her a towel with his eyes closed. She catches it. Then she was like, listen, you need to check your phone. Come to find out, her friend at the club sent pictures of, I guess, Zatima doing something. And Zach is just so over it that he eventually looks at his phone and stuff like that. Like, that's not true. And he walks up to the tub and he give her this meanest glare. I'm just like, if looks can kill, Zach gave her the look of death. Like, he wanted to punch this girl's head off. Like, he is so tired of the games. And it's like, ugh. Yeah, so that was the end of that episode. Yep. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.